Good morning, Hojo staff, students, and families. Ya'ateben. We're ready to start our day. It's Monday, September 21st, so everybody please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Our voices are off and our bodies are still. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Good morning, everyone. Well, today's Monday. We're starting a new week together, and I hope you're one of the students, when you're watching this, who are back at school today, because we can be back at school for at least half days. I think we could get everybody in for at least half days if you want to come back for part of the day, because we certainly miss you and wish you were here. I know it's not easy to do the work at home on the computer, so if you would like to come in, we do have some time and some room for everybody to come in. And if we can see how many students want to come back, maybe some of our students could even stay for a full day if we are able to work that out. So for right now, you can come back for half a day. So hopefully you're watching this from school, and eventually we'll do announcements together again rather than on a video, because for right now we still have students coming in the morning and in the afternoon, and we have students at home. So we'll continue to do the morning announcements on a video until we can get everybody back together. So Mrs. Neff has chosen another selection for us, and I just noticed that my little iPad here that we listen to the music on is on 3% battery, so hopefully it will do the job and get us to at least hear this new piece of music. So I want you to listen to it. I know you haven't heard it before. Maybe you have heard it before, you just didn't know what it was. I'm going to play it for you, and then I'm going to tell you what it is and who the composer is. And then tomorrow, you're going to tell me. All right, ready? Listen. Okay, friends, that is called Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin. Now, Gershwin is an American composer and composed this around 1924, something along those lines. So when my grandmother was born, this was a popular tune. So, and George Gershwin wrote this selection called Rhapsody in Blue when he was riding on a train. So tomorrow when I play it, see if you can feel the sense of a train in the background. I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't know that until I did a little research myself to hear about that. So American composer, George Gershwin, and the name of the piece is Rhapsody in Blue. Okay, friends. Let's do a selection from the past, if our battery holds out. Let's try this one, which we've listened to a few times recently, but let's see if we can remember. Okay, friends, what were we listening to? We had to get to that point where you hear those violins going very quickly. Do you remember what that is? That is Antonio Vivaldi's, right? He's the composer. And of the four seasons, that one was winter. And today is our last day of summer. Would you believe? The last day of summer. Tomorrow starts the first day of autumn. Okay, friends. Hope you enjoyed your last day of summer today. All right, let's look at some art. For art this week, I'm going to go back to someone familiar so we can learn more of his works. So this painting right here, perhaps you remember, if you went to school here last year, you would remember maybe looking at it in Miss Stapp's classroom or in the hallways. Rembrandt's The Night Watch, painted in 1642. Rembrandt, the Dutch golden era painter, 1642. And you know, right from that same area, we had the separatists or the pilgrims who came to the United States, actually took the Mayflower and started their journey from the same area, from Holland. So painted just about 20 years after the Mayflower sailed for the New World, or to start our colonies over here. So interesting. Rembrandt, Night Watch, 1642. Okay, architecture. I want to share a piece with you this week that you'll be seeing in the news a lot and have probably seen over the weekend. This is our newest selection. Don't they look a little bit similar in a lot of ways? What are you noticing about that? Huh? Do you see these columns? This kind of shape? The triangular shape and the columns? This is actually the U.S. Supreme Court building. And it's in the news a lot right now because one of our Supreme Court justices, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, has passed away, sadly. She was the second female justice to be appointed to the court. So here we have the U.S. Supreme Court building, which, if you think about it, and you look at the columns on which building is this? Jefferson Memorial, that's right. Do you notice any columns here in the front here and all around up through here? This is the U.S. Capitol building. Do you see some columns here? Triangular shape in the columns. And that's the White House, some columns. Yep, that's the back of the White House. And yet another, more columns, no triangular shape at the top, but lots of the columns. And we're going to talk about what this all represents, because this was not a new way of looking at architecture. This is called a neoclassical, and I'll explain when we look at the next set of buildings that we're going to look at. And this is the Lincoln Memorial, right? Okay, friends. All right, let's do a poem. This poem is from the first grade selection. So the first graders from last year or the year before have memorized this poem, or at least have read it in their class. Not all poems from all grades get memorized, but a selection of them do and are shared with the whole school. So this one comes from the first grade selection, and it's called The Pasture, and it's by Robert Frost, an American poet. The Pasture. I'm going out to clean the pasture spring. I'll only stop to rake the leaves away and wait to watch the water clear, I may. I shan't be gone long, you come too. I'm going out to fetch the little calf that's standing by the mother. It's so young, it totters when she licks it with her tongue. I shan't be gone long, you come too. So we've read a number of poems from Robert Frost, and he is an American poet, as I said, and this poem was published in 1915. So even before that George Gershwin selection that we heard today, so about 10 years before that, this poem was published. And coincidentally enough, my son goes to school at Plymouth State in New Hampshire, where Robert Frost lived and taught at that school. And just this weekend, my son sent me a video that a cow was born on the campus around Plymouth State where he lives, and he had witnessed and sent me a video of this calf being born. And so it made me think of this poem about the little calf and the mother licking her new calf. Have you ever seen that? You probably have. A lot of you live or near farms or have access to farms that have seen a mother cow taking care of and licking her newborn calf. And my son was watching that. The mom licked the calf, and he was saying, look at how much that mom already loves her calf, and she's taking care of it already. It was just born. And so it made me think of this poem to share with you. So, The Pasture by Robert Frost, from the first grade selection of poems for Hojo Academy. Okay, so no birthdays today. Interesting. Gone a couple of days with no birthdays during the school day. We had one this weekend, so hopefully there's some tomorrow. All right, we've been talking about the Bill of Rights. Now, the Constitution of the United States, in which we do our preamble, the introduction, we say it together after the Pledge of Allegiance every day so we can remember why we have those laws. And all of our nation's laws are based on the U.S. Constitution. And I showed you the Capitol building. That's where all the laws are made now, but they can't contradict the Constitution. When we make new laws, they have to align with or be in accordance with. They can't differ or change the Constitution unless there's an amendment. And there's been the first 10 amendments were necessary in order for all the states to ratify the Constitution. And so the first 10 amendments were written by James Madison, who was which president? Number 4, our 4th president, James Madison. And he wrote the first 10 amendments. Did we just say the first 10 amendments are called the Bill of Rights? And so the first one we did last week. So let's say it together. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Hope you said that with me. That's the First Amendment. The Second Amendment, we hear about this a lot on TV if you watch the news or you hear commentary, or you may see it on people's cars or on windows, and it'll say something like protecting our Second Amendment rights, or I support our Second Amendment rights. And they don't explain what that is, and maybe you've wondered, what are the Second Amendment rights? So the Second Amendment says, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay, what does that mean? So the right to keep and bear arms. Arms being primarily guns is what we're talking about, that people are allowed to keep them, to own them, to have them. And this right shall not be infringed by lawmakers at the Capitol building. When we have our representatives and senators may not make laws to infringe on the people's right to keep and bear arms. It starts with a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. When we talked about the American Revolution last year, and we talked about we had the Declaration of Independence, and that we declared ourselves a country free from England, we did not have an army, right? We had to have a militia. That means the common person is able to defend themselves, their property, and their country, and their constitution and their rights. With the use for them to do that, they have to be able to keep and bear arms. And so the framers, those people who wrote the Constitution and wanted it ratified, including this information, that the government couldn't take the arms away or the guns away from the people. And you also remember from the Declaration of Independence, right? If the government starts to take away the rights of the people, those inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, if a government starts to take those rights away, it is the duty of the people to do what? That's right. Take down that government and put in a new government, institute a new government to protect those rights, right? So that is why the Second Amendment is in there. So we have the First Amendment, which protects freedom of religion, speech, the press, the right of the people to peaceably assemble, to come together, to meet, and to petition the government or to sue the government if they think the government has harmed them in some way. And the Second Amendment, let's say it together. I'll say it, you repeat. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's right. That's how the Second Amendment reads today and has read that way since the Bill of Rights were amended and put into the Constitution as a part of the Constitution in December of 1791. So since 1791, we've had the First and Second Amendments, and we'll practice those and then learn the others. Okay, I think that's all for announcements for today. So let's say our student pledge. I will do the good, I will learn the true, and I will love the beautiful. And I hope you have a great day and a great week.